Welcome. This is a portion of a 2-hour conversation that took place in June of 2019 after the NRA national meetings. A conversation about NRA with Mac from Military Arms Channel, Jeff Knox from Firearms Coalition, Rob Pincus from I.C.E and 2AO, Shawn from We Like Shooting, and Jared from Guns and Gadgets. Together, we talked about the current state of the NRA, where it's going, and what we can do. Links to each of the participants and the full 2-hour conversation are available below. My question is a theoretical or a what if. If the NRA had not gone through this thing with McCormick or whatever they're called, Ackerman and Wayne LaPierre, but instead been a solid NRA that we'd like to think is more like a GOA, Second Amendment Foundation, FPC mixed together, right? A true coalition of all the organizations that are out there, and a funder of those organizations, and an organizer, right? If they would have been doing that, where would we be with that NRA? And are we forgetting about what is that potential of what the NRA could be when we talk about taking apart the erector set and seeing what we can do with the pieces next?
I think that we would be far ahead if we had principled leadership at the top instead of political operatives at the top. Political operatives, their first tool is politics and comity. How can we politically spin? How can we politically manipulate? And so they say and do things that are of a political nature. And Chris and Wayne's statement right after the Las Vegas shooting is a prime example of that. And you can go back and see multiple examples of that exact thing over and over again. What's the best political tack for us to take? Well, it's for us to jump out in front of all of this and say that we support regulation of bump stocks. And so that's what they did, ignoring that violates a core principle of what they're supposed to stand for. And
they did it again with the red flag laws. The video with Chris out there saying that the NRA is supporting red flag laws. Now the NRA tries to pretend like that video never existed. They don't even take the time to delete it from their YouTube channel, just like the joint statement about the bump stocks is still on their website. They go out there and talk out of one side of their mouth, and then over here they're saying, "Oh no, we're litigating this. And we're trying to stop red flag laws in states." Well, then why the hell does Chris have a video up saying the NRA supports it? And it's a great idea as long as you can impose a red flag law and still protect due process. That's like jumbo shrimp. It's an oxymoron. You can't have due process and have a red flag law.
You think that that's their equivalent of holding his fingers behind his crossed fingers behind his back and like a little.
They're pandering and playing politics. They're pandering and playing politics with our rights.
Right. It's our rights. Exactly.
Right. And this is what I'm talking about, is that to me, the leader of the NRA really needs to be a very strongly principled Second Amendment purist. And yes, politics should rein him in at various times, because being a purist isn't going to win every fight. And so you have to make some concessions here and there. So you need the top to be a purist, and then you have your political operatives below him or her pulling on the reins a little bit to steer them some. But you make sure that you're always pointing north. You make sure that you've got a clear compass. And we haven't had that. We've had political operatives at the top, and those political operatives have made political decisions instead of principled decisions. And that's where the problem really lies. And so we need that principled leadership. Dad used to be called the conscience of the gun rights movement. And there was a reason for that, was because his compass pointed north always. And they all knew that. And we've not had that compass for a long time, sadly.
This is a portion of a 2-hour conversation that took place in June of 2019 after the NRA national meetings. A conversation about NRA with Mac from Military Arms Channel, Jeff Knox from Firearms Coalition, Rob Pincus from I.C.E and 2AO, Shawn from We Like Shooting, and Jared from Guns and Gadgets. Together, we talked about the current state of the NRA, where it's going, and what we can do. Links to each of the participants and the full 2-hour conversation are available below.